Hi YouTube, we're here with something different today. It's not a really small airplane, but it is from Hobbyking. And don't worry, there's no more children yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this thing open. We're going to show you what it is. Hopefully we'll do another video here shortly about putting it together, and then another video about using it. Oh buddy. Oh buddy. What do we have? Nyah.
There's no picture.
There's no picture. What is it, guys? Is it a box of shoes? I don't think so. There it is, guys. It is a 1/16 Mini Trooper SCT, which I believe stands for something like scale. And then also here, give them a shot inside the box.
Oh, that's the really exciting
We also
part.
have some really exciting things for the ASH26 programming cards for YEP. Electronic speed controls. We got a 40 amp and a 30 amp. And these things have a humongous amount of output. This has a 5.5 volt at 5 amp BEC, which is huge. And this has a 4 volt at, 5.5 volts at 4 amp BEC, or SBEC for both of them, which is really good on a spec sheet. And then also, what else did we get? What else did we get? What is this stuff? Oh, we got some Turnigy lights, guys. These lights are sold in 1 meter lengths, and this is the type of lights that I purchase, except I've never actually bought them myself for my airplanes, which sounds really, really cheap. That is 1 meter of lights, guys. That's so crazy. Usually when I get these things, it's like rolls like this. It's like rolls this big. So anyway, the reason I bought these was because I've been having problems with the ones that I mooched off of a friend recently. That he got to replace the ones that I mooched off of another friend, and when I use those to install on his plane. So we're going to see if these work good. If these work good, that's $5. That's actually a lot, I think. But I don't ever use them as a roll. I'll separate them out. And interestingly enough, as you know, I like to do flaps and lights. I think we might be doing lights on this.
Where are you going to put the flaps?
So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and unbox this thing. And if you want to pause it, we'll get this stuff out of the way. Okay, so we ended up getting this for $98, $97, which seems like a lot for a 1/16 scale car. But when you see this thing run, you're going to be like, wow, that's a pretty good value. It runs, by default, it's supposed to run on 2S, 1800 milliamp LiPo. This is one of the recommended packs. Of course, mine are puffy because I've pushed them in airplanes. This is a 2S 25 through 50 C discharge, 1.8 amp hour, which would be 1800 milliamp hours. So there's 2 in series. That's what the S stands for, in case you don't know anything about LiPos, lithium polymer packs. This has an XT60 end on it, and then a standard balance end. Okay, balance charging port. This balance charger is how you balance the left and the right cell, or the cell 1, cell 2, and you keep them even. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. So it runs by default 1800, but we're going to try to run 2200 in this thing. Okay, so without further ado, we'll start cutting things open. Just 1 piece of tape on this side. It's a really nice little package. Good artwork. Nobody cares about the box. But look at that, guys. I thought we'd have to at least put the top on. That's literally all it is. That's crazy. And this is a ready to run. So, man, that looks nice. Those wheels have squishiness to them. Good traction. Oil-filled shocks. It's got anti-sway bars. Metal differentials. This is 4-wheel drive, of course. Got a brushless motor. In this case, it's a 4800 kV brushless motor. We'll take off the top here so you guys can get a better shot of it. But it's got these good bump guards on the front and back. And you can see the XT60 on there. Looks like some sort of a weather-resistant ESC. So the way you pull this off, of course, you take these pins out quick. For those of you who watch my channel, you don't realize this, but I used to do RC10s back when I was a kid. I had like an $800 radio control car, which is crazy. You'll notice this doesn't have a lot of detail on it. That's because the decals can be added at your convenience later. So the windows, lights, things like that, all that stuff gets added later, which my son and I will actually be working on that together on this project. This is kind of his thing eventually. Now let's get a close look at this. Little packing foam, good stuff for airplane guys. I'm gonna keep that for another project. And then this is where the radio is stored, or transmitter in this case. It's a pistol grip style. Oh, be careful, it's not sealed at all. Feels cheap, I can live with that. Looks like you have to install your own, what the heck? I hope that's not broken. Oh, I don't think it's broken. Oh no, it comes with that. So it's got a tire on it. Evidently, if you wear out your tire, you can replace it. Comes with some instructions. Let's just put it together real quick. Of all the stuff that's assembled, it's kind of weird that this part isn't assembled.
Yeah.
But that's how they keep the depth of the package so it fits inside of here. Okay, so nice box, very strong. I was kind of amazed how well this was already built. Ooh, I don't like where the antenna ended up. The antenna ended up being right here. It's technically safe because the suspension will play. It's kind of weird too because the suspension is allowed to go up higher than the bottom, so you can actually scrape the bottom on the ground, which is a little strange. And show them these sway bars, and there's adjustments for the steering here. So you can turn that turnbuckle there and it will adjust the camber and the tilt and the angles of the wheels. And back here, same thing. That's really nice. Look at that. That's really nice. There's your anti-sway bars, which is this thing here. And then the four-wheel drive mechanism. Oh, cool. Look at that. I don't like that that's exposed. That's not real cool. Of course, I'm moving the drivetrain right now for the front and the back wheels. And we got an XT60 female connector here, even though technically this would be a male connector because there's pins. Nice big heatsink on the, I believe it's a 25 amp ESC. Yep, 25 amp brushless with reverse ESC. Plugged into channel 3. Looks like this is a receiver, 2.4 gigahertz. I'm not sure what they use, if it's like DSM2. Quantum, is that what it is? Quantum? Yeah. And here's your battery clips. So you just undo these two things here. Same exact clip that they use for the lids on the top. So this thing can be flipped upside down if you want to put a bigger pack in there. And then there's your dimension right there is on that. So let's try with a 1800 2S. Oh yeah, that thing's going to fit just fine, guys. 1800 2S. Now, if we go to the 2200 2S, it may be a little bit tight. Oh, and by the way, I believe this thing will run on 2 or 3S, but we'll just have to see how that works out. Sometimes these things get a little overly hot. But look at that metal gear on the actual motor. That's nice, but then it goes to a plastic gear, which is a little weird. And what else can we see about this? We've got one single servo. Looks like probably about a 15-gram servo for the steering mechanism. Nothing too special. If we destroy that, we'll just get a metal gear servo and put it in there instead. Tons of play on the suspension. This is nice and bendy, which will be good. It'll help to protect the... oh, look at that. That's a nice design. Take a lot of energy. Okay, so assembling this, there's some instructions. It looks like a little cap and then a single screw. I guess we could put this cap back on the battery. Since my pack is puffed, we'll put it in upside down. And then we'll just slide this down to the appropriate hole position. There's a bunch of different holes, so you can do different heights to secure the LiPo in there. These things are really easy to use. You just push it down And you'll just secure the LiPo in there. And there you have it. Now that's secured. So one other thing too, when you're running a car, you'll be able to tell when it slows down, because there should be some low voltage protection built in there, but usually by the time you hit low voltage protection, you've pretty well puffed your pack. Get yourself one of these, or I'll show you the other. These are super popular, super cheap. For a couple, $3 or something like that, you can get these at Hobbyking. $3 or $4, depending on what type you want. These ones don't give you a display of the voltage, but they will beep when they get low. And I like this one though, because you can press this button and change the low voltage warning. So you just line up your negative lead with your negative side, and this goes 2 through, well, I think it's 1 through 8S. And it'll beep real loud when it starts getting low. So it says 2 cells, 8.25 volts, 4.12 on the first cell, and 4.14 on the second cell. So we can actually get that in there, and then that will beep when we get to a low voltage condition. And you can set where you want it to be. We run these at 3.3 volts per cell. So when you hit 3.3 volts, it goes off. So under load, of course, it's going to go off first. I'm used to flying planes. You don't always get a second chance with the car. You can just let it die and then go pick it up most of the time, unless you're in a race. Okay, so here's the instructions on the wheel. Real simple. Looks like we have a cap, then a screw, then the wheel. It's got a little key in there. It's very obvious which way this goes. So you're just going to lay that on there. It's very obvious where it goes, but it's not really sitting on there super easy. Okay, so now it's on there, and you can tell it's springing back to the middle. Let's grab a Phillips screwdriver. That was Phillips, wasn't it? Yeah, it didn't. There was no provided Phillips screwdriver, by the way. We're going to need 4 AA's for the transmitter. Why don't you run and grab those, bud? So we're just going to take and get this thing assembled, because it's such an easy process. Okay, so once this is tight, we're just going to go until we feel like it's not going to pop off. It's kind of chintzy plastic, so you got to be careful with this. Okay, so it's tight, and then this thing just caps in there, just with a pressure fit. No big deal, nothing special. And we'll hang on to these foam pieces for another project. And once you pause it, we'll get this stuff out of the way. Okay guys, so we got the transmitter here, and there's an antenna that collapses or extends, and then there's where the batteries are, there's a release button. So it's like a magazine on a gun, which is great because the kids surely know how to do that with their gun experience. And what you're going to want to use is not AA's, you want to use AA's. So my mistake, AA's please. You pause it. Okay guys, the list said 4 AA's, I just misspoke. Come up here so we can show people. If you don't know how to load these, you're probably not buying this, but still. The spring goes to the negative side, the positive side has a bump. Put it just like that, put the other flat side in. And just like that, that's all you got to do is just let it shoot everywhere. Which, by the way, when you release your magazine from your gun, it's going to shoot this everywhere, and it's going to be really frustrating, so just be ready for that the first time you do that. Okay, so we got that. What you're going to look for is you're going to look for the 2 contact points. The opposite side is plastic, okay? Look for the contact points, and it only fits one way, presumably. Of course, it's very difficult to know exactly which way it goes. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold it and you're going to say, oh, when this slides in, is that going to be flush? Nope. Now it is. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? So that's how you do that. Done. Okay, cool. Oh, so it's currently on right now. There's an on button here. So I'm going to actually press the button. So you press it, it turns it on. You press it, it turns it off. It's a spring, normally open spring return switch. So there's also fixed trim pots for steering and throttle. And it looks like forward and reverse, just like you're used to. So when you pull the trigger, it goes forward. When you push back, it gives you reverse. Of course, this is going to steer the wheels. So now we're going to have to go through a binding procedure so that we can bind this car to this radio, or transmitter in this case. Okay, so why don't we pause it, we'll get this thing cut open. Okay guys, so I'll give you a good shot of the decals. This is the manual that comes with it. As you can see, I'm just now opening the manual, now that I'm pretty much done putting the car together. These are the decals they come with. It's one sheet. Looks really nice. That's going to be cool. Those lights should be about the right size. We can line up some lights behind them and just drill a couple of small holes. And then those lights will be really bright. We'll probably run those off of the... Well, we could run them off the battery, but that's an 8-volt battery, an 8.4 volt battery, so we'll probably just run them off the servo lead, and we can use a Y splitter, and we can take voltage off for that. And that way, when you take off the cover lid, you don't have to worry about that. The other thing is we'll have to figure out a creative way to make our contacts. Maybe we can do it where we've got a magnet or something in here that actually touches the positive and negative contacts, and when you take the lid off, you don't have to worry about dealing with that. Okay, cool. So then, of course, you've got your bind plug in here, which you're seeing now for the first time. That's a bind plug. What that does is that allows us to short ground to signal, okay, on the receiver here. And so if you look at this receiver up close, you can see how it says bind, bat, and then it says channel 3, channel 2, channel 1. Well, obviously this is channel 1. This is channel 2. And then the bind is going to go in on this one. Now, it doesn't matter which way it goes, provided it'll fit, but there's a little bit of a taper on the front edge here and a front edge here. So it does go in easier on one side versus the other. And if you don't already know this, the white is the signal, the orange is the signal, the black is the ground, and the brown is the ground. The red is always positive voltage, okay? So we have the bind plug inserted. Now we just need to figure out exactly how to bind this. So for that, we do have to refer to the manual. So we're going to do that real quick, and we will show you the next step. All right, guys, inside this manual, hidden within one of the many paragraphs of useless information, you'll find this section that's not highlighted. It's going to tell you how to make this work with your designated car. Now, there's different channels that are available. All right, guys, so basically what this says is you switch on the transmitter, you turn the receiver power, you can choose any channel, plug the jumper into the bind, bat, which is this one of your receiver. When the indicator flashes, which there must be an indicator in here that I haven't seen yet, that means that it's in the code select. At this point, you can pull the jumper out. Okay, so we're going to turn this on. Red light comes on. You can see that red light there. Then you're basically going to plug in your LiPo. Okay, so we're flashing. Now we can pull this out. Okay, very good. There it is, guys. Now I'm going to unplug this. I'm going to shut this off. I just want you guys to see. This is just plugged into the battery. It's not plugged into the car. Okay, so we're going to plug this back in. You always want to try to have your controls turned on first. And that way you don't have a car take off or a plane start the prop and chop up your fingers. Okay, so we're just letting that initiate. And then we're just going to test the controls to make sure they're working. Okay, so whoa, forward and backward. Okay, so we're going to put this on the ground so it doesn't get too amazingly crazy on us right away. Okay, so. And one thing that nobody ever talks about on these videos is there's full control. It's not all or nothing like the cheap junky ones. That's very important when you're trying to actually drive a car. Looks like my front right wheel is way out of alignment. I don't know if you guys can see that. But you can tell it's like way kicked over to the side. So we're going to have to do a little bit of straightening up real quick. And that will help a lot before we get it outside and really let her have it. And I'm just being real gentle with it right now. That's pretty cool. You can see the red light or the green light depending on which direction you're going. So the electronic speed control is making a decision of which direction to run the brushless motor. And then we're going to have to figure out a way to brace that voltage alarm. So guys, this is basically all we got for the unboxing. Here in a few minutes, we're going to take it out, and we're going to get a video of the first run. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.